Why hello there, AnxiousCynic back again with another Mine-imator tutorial. So some of you have been asking recently how to climb a ladder, and I thought I would go ahead and try to tackle that this week. I was going to practice it, but I ran out of time, so we're going to try to wing it this tutorial and see if I can come up with something usable. And we're going to start off with our little scene here, because obviously Steve wants to get to the blowfish on top of this random dirt stack. So rather than use the 2D ladder that Mine-imator would typically use, I'm going to go ahead and create a 3D ladder by getting the ladder texture. So we're going to go ahead and first spawn in an item as per usual. Let's just make it a sword so we can differentiate here. And let's go ahead and center that out. And which way is it going to be? This one, right? Okay, wrong one. So we're going to turn this into our ladder, and of course we don't want it to bounce. Turn that off. And then we're going to come over here and turn off the sheet. And then I'm going to click on the texture image and browse, and I have the texture saved here, which is perfect. So I'm going to open that up, and there we go. Perfect 3D ladder, ready to go. Simple as that. All right, so we can't do any repeats, so what we're going to have to do is actually just duplicate this, and I'm going to go ahead and duplicate and then parent it to the first one, as you may have guessed, and then we're going to center out that parameter and then bump this up. What's it going to be? 16 points? That looks good to me. All right, so we're going to go ahead and duplicate that another time. We're going to duplicate, it remains parented, and then we're going to bump this up to 32 if I actually clicked in there properly. And looks like we may need to do one more, so we're going to go ahead and do that, and that's going to make it another number, which would be 48. There we go. There we are, figured it out. So here's our ladder, and I was trying to figure out if I want to do it like just straight like this, how you would normally have it in Minecraft. That seems a bit boring to me though. So what I thought about doing is actually tilting it like so. Let's go ahead and drag the mouse out a little bit so we can get more finer detail there. Maybe we'll actually bring it in a bit. Let's go ahead and tilt it about -15, and then bring the ladder over until it meets up the way we want it to. Try to get a better angle here. Something like that. Save. And there we go. There's our ladder scene. Perfect. All right, let's go ahead and get Steve and see if we can throw this together real quick and see if we can do this relatively quickly. I'm going to go ahead and lock our ladder so I don't accidentally select it and move it or do anything too crazy. And let's go ahead and do that. And we're going to bring Steve out, of course. And how about we rotate him 180 degrees so he is lined up with our ladder. Alright, so I normally do the folder trick or whatever to make the rotation point be at the center, but I'm hoping we don't need that, so I'm just going to try to animate him as the default here. We're obviously going to have him be rotated a bit. That looks about 15 degrees, about the same as the ladder. So what we want to do is go ahead and just kind of get some basic poses in. I'm not going to cover really how you would get to this pose from a walk or anything. We're just going to try to cover the basic, he's on a ladder it's the cycle thing here. So maybe we'll have this one up like he's reaching up, this one down like he's getting ready to hoist himself up a little bit, something like so. That doesn't look too bad. So the question I have here, and again, like I said, I didn't get to practice this or really prepare. I don't really know the best way to go about this, like whether you should offset the legs and arms as you would do with a walk. I probably should have looked at an example, and for some reason my memory is not serving me as to how people climb ladders, so that's going to work out really well for us today. So let's see here. My guess would be that you would come up on, let's go ahead and reverse these real quick. Let's bring that back out, and we're going to go with this leg. So we're going to kind of go with when he reaches up to the next height, then it'll be that same leg that's going to go up to propel him forward. So we'll try something like that. That doesn't look too bad. Seems to look realistic to me, but I may just be dumb. All right, so let's go ahead and tilt his head back. He's ready to go up the dang old ladder. So that's going to be our first pose right there. So now what we need to do is do the thing that you would do to make it look like you're going up the ladder, which is basically like a walk cycle. You want to do the reverse pose of this and see how that looks. So I'm just going to go ahead and double click on this keyframe here for the left leg, and I'm going to hit Control C to copy. And now I'm going to come out to frame 10, and I'm going to select the right leg timeline. I'm going to hit Control V to paste, and then we're going to do the same thing. I'm going to come up to the first keyframe here on the right leg. I'm going to hit double click it to highlight it, hit Control C to copy, click on the left leg timeline, hit Control V to paste, and there we go. We get the opposite frame keyframe there for the position, and that's pretty good. We could also probably edit the body and like the bend and whatnot, but for now I'm just gonna focus on the arms and legs and see what we can get here and keep it simple like. So we're gonna do the same thing here. We're gonna double click, Control C, select the other one's timeline, Control V, come back, double click, Control C, Control V, and there you go. So we have this kind of thing going on here. Obviously we don't want the back leg to remain out like this because it's going to be on the ladder at that point. So we're going to go ahead to this one and we're going to rotate it in like so, something like that, because we want them to stay on the ladder. Okay, so this is going to be a little bit tricky, but we're going to see. Oh, there's my taskbar again. We're going to go ahead and see if we can get this going. So basically you would want him to rise up on that the way you would expect, and he's not doing it right now. We could probably just go ahead and animate the rest of the cycle before we do this, but I kind of want to have an idea a bit better of what we're doing here, so we're going to try and see what we can do with this for now, just to get an idea of how this is supposed to look. So I moved him up just a little bit there, as you can see, and this is going to go straight up, so we're going to have to kind of finagle them into place each time. Shouldn't be too difficult, hopefully, but let's see what we got here. Alright, so right now we're just using linear transitions, which I think should hopefully work well enough for us, so we'll see how that goes. Alright, so the thing we have here is that it probably needs to go in, like his body needs to come in a bit there, because he's not going up like at all. So first thing I want to do here is go ahead and bring this back. Maybe something like that. Let's try it. -22. And then we're going to grab the main character here and bring it up and try to line it up just like so. Something like that. And as you can see, the other leg is going in there, and that's going to be a problem, so we'll have to see how that works. I may have messed myself up by doing the leaning ladder, but I thought it would look cool, so that's what I want to try to do. So there we go. He goes in and up, and as you can see, things aren't looking too pretty there. And what we want to do, as this one is coming up here, we probably want to have a middle transition for the left leg here. Go ahead and do something like that, so that way it doesn't look too wonky. And of course we're going to want to fix the arms, so let's see here. This one, since he's in more, may want him to come up a bit. And for this one, we may have to adjust the body again, so this could be kind of pointless to do at this moment, but we're just going to try it and see. Something like that. Basically what we want to do is once he's on the ladder, that's when we're going to try to get it to a position where we can copy paste the keyframes and make the rest of it relatively easy. So we'll see how that goes and how it works out for us. Alright, so he goes up like so. Basically what we want to happen here on this arm is it to remain in contact with the ladder, so it looks like he's kind of hoisting himself up. So maybe we'll kind of do something like that and see what that looks like. Doesn't look too terrible. Of course, his hand is sliding there. We don't want that. Ideally, you want the hand to stay wherever it was. So, like, let's see where it's ending up here. It's ending up kind of on that next one down. So what if we did that? And for this one, we want to adjust it. Something like so. So I guess that's probably going to cause that no matter which level we're at. Let's go ahead and undo that. Alright, so there we go. For some reason the bin was kind of giving me some trouble there. I don't know why. But that's a little bit better. We want the arm to kind of stay where it's supposed to be. All right. And that's kind of what you want to focus on, is like where the weight is being placed and how Steve is reaching himself up to, you know, pull himself up to things. So we're going to try for here. And right here, we could probably have his arm bend a bit like it's going up. Something like that. He's reaching up for the next one. And for this leg here, I want to bring that bend back in. This definitely needs to come forward. Like so. And this is kind of looking a bit wonky, but maybe we'll try to go with this. Like maybe he'll come up every 2 bars or something. That's gonna, oops, it's gonna look a little bit wonky, as you can see, but maybe he's trying to do it real quick. Like, of course, like the distance here could be done any number of ways, however you want it to look for yourself. But this is what we're gonna try to go with here. Left leg comes up like so, and right here we want to kind of have the leg back a bit more, maybe. Let's see what that looks like. There we go. And then maybe on this one, we'll actually come out a bit on the bend. Oops. Nope, we don't want to have that selected. There we go. All right, be careful about where your keyframes are highlighted there. You'll have some issues and be a dumb like me. All right, so that looks good. Good enough, anyway. And what we want to do is then copy that same process to the next one. That looks kind of weird, but we'll go with it. All right, so for the left leg, we're gonna go ahead and copy these 2 keyframes here, and we're gonna copy and paste. That actually is kind of screwed up there. We'll have to fix that. Let me go ahead and do it. I'm gonna bring these out. Somehow I didn't place them on the right thing there, and I don't know, we would want that, but for now we're gonna go with every 5 frames here. All right, so now we're gonna go ahead and double select these and hit Control C, come down to the other leg and hit Control V. And that way we get that same movement for both legs like so. And then we're gonna do the same thing for the other leg here. We're gonna select this keyframe, copy, and we're going to paste it on the 10th keyframe there. So we get this kind of same thing going on here. Just like so. All right, and then since this is the first time he actually steps up while on the ladder, we may need to adjust this leg that's coming forward here, or coming backwards, I mean, because as you can see there, it's just kind of going through and doing some wonky things. We also need to adjust Steve's height, so we'll have to work with that as well. Anyway, so the first thing we want to do is probably go ahead and use these positions here. So let's see if we can do the same thing. We're going to go ahead to the left arm, highlight those, Control C, come down to the other arm, Control V, same with this one, Control C, highlight the other one, Control V, and we'll see if that gives us usable results just doing that. That's not too bad. And what we want to do is go ahead and move the body to make sure that our arm placements and stuff aren't kind of screwing up on us. So we'll see. It's basically every 2 bars here, so that means he would come up. He's stepping on this one, so that means the next one should be up to there, I guess. Hang on, let's see what this is gonna be on this one here. Okay, try to remember that. Remember this bar here is the one that he's stepping up to. There we go. Something like that. Should be good enough, hopefully. Probably needs to come down just a tad. Something like that. All right, let's see what that looks like. It's probably going to be terrible, but we will see. All right, so as you can see, we're definitely getting a problem there with the other leg coming down. And one of the issues that we're having is that I think the body probably needs to come out at these points. For this one, it's not so bad, but once he gets going on the ladder, that's definitely not how we want it to look. So let's see here. Which one is grabbing? It's going to be this leg, so we need to kind of make sure that that's the one that stays relative to the ladder. And as you can see, that messes the arms up. but we'll see how that goes. Maybe we can rotate him a tad, something like that. No rotation there. All right, so there we go. Bring him up just a bit. And as you can see, that gives us that little bump there, and it kind of... All right, so we definitely need to fix that a bit because his leg is, or his toe is a bit further in, so we're gonna bring that back in right there. And it doesn't look perfect, but I think you guys get the idea. Let's go ahead and raise him up. We just want to try to make sure he's not going into the wood too much. Keep it somewhat consistent with how we set it up originally. Alright, that doesn't look too terrible. And at this point, let's see if we can go ahead and fix the arm positions here. I don't know if the arm that's kind of flailing is that much of an issue, but we'll see. So he's going to be pulling with his left arm at this point, so that's the one we definitely want to try to keep in the position that it's supposed to be in, which is right there. So at this position, that's actually not too bad. And at this one, it kind of goes way out. So maybe we'll do something like that. We'll see how that works for us. So for some reason, I'm getting this weird issue where sometimes I'm adjusting something and it's not keeping that movement. It's almost like this transition or this keyframe here doesn't exist or something. I don't know if that's an issue with community build or if it's something that I'm just missing at the moment, which I wouldn't be surprised if it is, so forgive me. But we definitely want to correct it. So let me actually just highlight this one just in case that has anything to do with it. His arm may need to straighten out a bit like this because we did pull him out from it a bit and that looks okay. Yeah, good enough. You can obviously polish this as much as you want to, but that's technically what you would want to do. For the other one over here, let's see what his arm does. He's grabbing on and he's reaching up for the next one. So for this arm movement right here, we're probably gonna have to maybe not bend it as much or something. It feels like it kind of goes out a little bit too far, so I'm gonna go ahead and do that. That doesn't look too bad. And now that we've got those set up, so I'm going to go ahead and see if we can copy those keyframes to the next one and have them climb all the way up to the top of the ladder, something like that. Again, they're kind of winging this, so it's probably not going to be perfect, but we'll see what we can get out of it. So I'm going to go ahead and copy this one here, copy, click on this one here, paste, bring it over to there. And we're going to highlight these two, copy, select this one, paste. That way we get those same movements yet again. And then we're going to go to this one, copy, select next one, paste. Same process as before. Paste, and there you go. So for these here, I'm going to see if I can copy these keyframes and paste them as well and make the movement a little bit easier. So I'm going to copy these two keyframes where we have Steve coming out and then up, and do the same here, but we're just going to use a slider because he's not going to move. He's just going to stay in the same spot. But what I can do, hopefully, is figure out where his foot is on this one. And then when we come to this keyframe here, I'll try to move him up to that same similar position. So let's see what that looks like. So he's up. And maybe pull him out just a tad more. It's not too bad, and we'll see what that looks like. Alright, so there you go. That's pretty much how you would do it, at least for a winged first attempt here. Obviously, like I said, I haven't practiced this, so I would assume I could do something more polished if I had more time to work with it, but I think we got the basic idea. You basically just want to focus on where his hands and his legs or feet are planted, and kind of imagine that there's weight there and he needs to support his weight. So he's going to be pulling with one hand or arm and pushing with a leg. So you need to try to remember that and have him move in such a way. Obviously, this is not anywhere near perfect, but have him move in such a way where it looks like he's propelling and pulling and pushing himself up and down the ladder, or however you want to do it. And there you go. And this is obviously just to try and get somewhat of a realistic effect. Obviously, if you watch Minecraft itself, you're going to see that they just do their little walk cycle and basically hover up the ladder, which is fine if you're going for a Minecraft-themed animation, in my opinion anyway. But if you're trying to do something where he actually does it, then this would be my first take on how to accomplish that. So there you go, that is the final animation. It's not very polished, it could use a lot of work, but hopefully it gives you guys at least a starting point as to where you could get started and do something like this for your own animations, and at least inspired you in some way. In any case, that's going to be it for this tutorial. I hope it helped. I hope it was enlightening in some form, to some extent. If it was, feel free to hit that like button, comment, and subscribe to become a citizen today. Share it with your friends and your family and your pets. And I'll see you guys in the next video.